If you've got just 7 days for Banff and Jasper, then this No Ways Rockies blueprint is a must watch for you. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the exact 7-day Calgary blueprint, the timing strategy, and how to avoid the crowds. Also, plan B swaps in case shuttles sell out fast or places get too crowded. And if you are a parent, a couple, or independent traveler that just wants to avoid doing what everybody else is doing, then this is the perfect plan for you. Quick honesty here, I'm not claiming I have been personally to all these stops and places, but this plan is a rigorous desktop research and logistics validations, and I'll show you the exact official pages to verify closures and access rules before you go. So for this itinerary, I used a smart system, which are 3 rules. We touched just briefly on it. The first one is the golden hour scheduling. Banff and Jasper are crowded time. The icons are best seen early in the morning or maybe later in the evening to avoid crowds. Midday is usually when people or most people arrive and traffic increases, parking slots get booked out very easily and fast, and you have a lot of lineups. So rule number 2 is an important one. We use bases and not several places to sleep or accommodations. That's very important. And the 2 anchor spots are Canmore and Banff. So overall, less parking, less stress. And then the third point is bottleneck planning. If we're being honest, the real road trip killers are bottlenecks. For example, when a wildfire is burning and roads are closed, you missed the planning or the sellout of the shuttle buses, so there are no tickets anymore available. So having a plan B is essential and always good to have, which gives you a lot of relaxation and you are prepared. 3 things that you can use and incorporate, let's say 3-minute morning check is: first, look for the Banff National Park Bulletin and the Jasper National Park Bulletin. Then check the Alberta wildfire page for any updates in regards to that might impact your travel. And thirdly, look and check the page 511 Alberta for road restrictions or roadworks along your trip, that you won't get a surprise, just in case. The next thing I always use are Google Maps, because this gives you offline capability. If you have a trip, enter your trip from plan A to plan B, and you can then say you want to download this option. For bigger cities or areas with a better cell signal, you might want to use Waze. For real-time traffic updates, I prefer it over Google Maps. Then for planning, I highly advise you to use Wanderlog, as it is an awesome trip planning tool. I use it very often also for my clients. And then on top, also combine it with Mindtrip, and that one helps you planning the road trip with ease, as it is an AI tool that you can incorporate very easily, then combining with Wanderlog for the fine-tuning. And these are the most important tips. What you can do as well is, in my case, I already have flagged out some waypoints here with viewpoints and stuff that you can copy over if you want, but here you can plan out a bit where your viewpoints, where are wildlife corridors, maybe even look for hikes. So you can map this all out in the Google My Maps area. And before we start, just a brief overview of the trip. We start in Calgary, then drive over to Canmore, which is our base. I would advise you use Canmore over Banff because it's cheaper, not so expensive. And then the next area would be in Jasper. Plan B would be Whalebound if it would be too expensive and you wouldn't find anything. And then in the end in Jasper, in Calgary. So, and with that, let's jump into the trip. And just before we start, if you want the blueprint I have created, just click on the link in the description below. I have marked for you and prepared. You can use that. It's a free mind trip itinerary that you can use and adjust for yourself. it has some possible solutions in there, so you don't need to use all of them. You can adjust, fine-tune, whatever. And you also see here the important pages and the viewpoints and ideas between Banff and Jasper. Having said that, getting back to the itinerary, as mentioned, on the first day we start in Calgary and then we drive over to Canmore. I have a bed and breakfast here, but you could also use a Airbnb. There's another solution for Canmore in suites. And what you want to do is on the first day you do and run some groceries. So Calgary over here, you always have the map. On my trip, you drive over here to Canmore. Maybe use, if you prefer Banff, you can do that as well. As said, grocery run, important. Maybe you get a cooler yourself for the snacks and picnics that you might plan along the route. Then head over to Banff. It's a very short, I think 20 minutes or something to Banff. Make a quick tour of Banff, get an overview of the city, accommodate yourself and end the day easy with a dinner in Banff. And you might get even some nice views in the evening, nice scenery. And then get back to Canmore early because the next day will be packed. And with that I mean, we stay and get up early, head over to Banff, hit the most popular trail as early as possible, somewhere between 6 and 9 a.m. in the morning already, and then take somewhere a break along the trip. For example, you could go to Tuchak Lake, you can go to Lake Minnewanka, for example, or even stay in Banff itself and grab yourself maybe coffee afterwards. So that's the midday plan. And then take an easy scenic drive in the evening. You see it also here. I have it mapped out around here in this area. Yeah, in this area there's a wildlife corridor where you might have should have a higher chance of finding wildlife, and plan it out. And then head back to Canmore because the next day, day number 3, is also gonna be packed. And on this day, it is crucial to get up early as well because you want to get the first shuttle. Because one thing you need to know is the sooner you're at Moraine Lake, the more you have for yourself. You might even be able to catch the beautiful sunrise at Moraine Lake. And the plan here is to arrive early, as mentioned, and then maybe you plan for a shuttle service to Lake Louise. Thank you. And if on both lakes, if you feel it's crowded, you can always take a hike or a walk along the shoreline of either Moraine Lake or afterwards at Lake Louise. Maybe you bring your picnic with you to have lunch at Lake Louise and maybe go to another viewpoint where you have it more for yourself to avoid the crowds. And when it gets already crowded around this time, you might consider going back or heading back and see another lake for yourself maybe, or maybe plan a paddling trip at Bow River. Maybe that could be an option. And in case you're not able to grab yourself a shuttle ticket and it's sold out too fast, the plan B option, even if you think it might be too crowded for your taste, pivot to Yoho National Park. You still get this insane lake experience and scenic views, but usually with less congestion. And then day 4 is the trip on the famous Icefields Parkway, which is one of the got several times was named as one of the most beautiful highways on the planet. And there are a few things that you need to know before we drive the Icefields Parkway. It's over 230 kilometers long and there's no gas station between. So fill up your tank beforehand. There's also limited service available, meaning grab your snacks, prepare them in advance, then make sure to download the route with Google Maps, as you only have limited cell services available, and then move ahead. Second thing you need to think of when you drive this highway all the way over here to Jasper is to map out 5 to 7 stops you want to see on the travel. As highlighted on the Google My Map, I highlighted some of the viewpoints along the route. So grab yourself around 5 that you want to see, because this day trip, is about the Icefields Parkway. So make it as much out of the experience as possible. And because you're gonna do the way back as well, you can see other 5 viewpoints. For both ways that I will remind you afterwards again is plan in 1 to 2 lake viewpoints, 1 short canyon walk, plan in a glacier viewpoint, and maybe include 1 to 2 waterfalls. And with that, you make sure that you arrive in Jasper with enough energy and you're not gonna be a wreck. Because Jasper itself, the city, is also cool to explore on your own. And maybe, depending on your budget, you might have pivoted to Whalebound for an overnight stay. So we'll have another hour drive to Whalebound, so it would be good that you are still energized enough. And then we have a Jasper day, that's day number 5. And that one we can take a bit more easy, a bit more relaxed. Jasper is also famous for the bigger nature vibe. It's calmer, less stressy, less crowds, because it's so big, they spread out more broadly. And there are several things you can plan for the day. But my proposal would be drive the Millennia Lake Road, even plan maybe a trip on the Millennia Lake itself, as this corridor is famous for wildlife, viewing or spotting wildlife along the trip. And then on the way back, you can plan for being back on midday somewhere. Go to lakes that are close to Jasper itself, for example Pyramid Lake or Lake Agnes or Lake Edith as an option, and to enjoy the afternoon then at one of these lakes. Make sure you have your snacks ready, and then later the day you're gonna take another scenic route and road maybe to enjoy this beautiful scenery in Jasper, and then come out the day with a nice beautiful dinner within the city. And day 6 is already our way back. As mentioned before, also here we're gonna be back on the Icefields Parkway. Make sure to download your map route. Secondly, make sure your gas is filled up, have your snacks ready, and then have another 5 spots you want to see on the route. That could be, again, 1 to 2 lake views that you haven't seen before, short canyon walk, and I almost threw down my microphone, and 1 glacier viewpoint, and including 1 to 2 waterfalls. I have in the itinerary 2 waterfalls mentioned, the Athabasca Falls and the Tangle Creek Falls as an option, but there are also other possibilities, of course. And always make sure, as a little reminder, to check the Alberta 511 page for roadworks or any wildfire updates. Just a little reminder, as it's going to be a long drive again. And then on day 7, when we arrived in Canmore, on day 7 we then start again from Canmore back to Calgary, and this is going to be a rather easy day as well. So you take it easy, because then you can also plan in more stops in Calgary itself, explore the city a bit, and maybe even book one of the viewpoints. There's a restaurant with where it goes up. I'll show you that in a second. So here it is, the Calgary Tower, maybe. End your day in the Calgary Tower, go up, reserve a restaurant spot for yourself, and get a nice beautiful view of Calgary. This is one of the things we're gonna do on this trip this year, so we're looking forward to it. And if you're wondering, I want to know more about this trip, check out the link above with our 2 months trip plan in Canada this year. And as mentioned before, the whole trip with the possible ideas, you can copy paste this trip from my trip and adjust it for your needs and your preferences, then refine it with Wanderlog. Just check for the link below in the description, grab it and adjust it, and if you have any questions, let me know. Also, if you want to have a tailored best crowd tweak for your next travel to Banff and Jasper and want to know what to do, let me know in the comment with loop and your months. I will prepare an option for you based on this data. So, short recap. The secret in the whole story here, in the whole travel, isn't about doing more. It's just making sure you have a better timing, fewer bottlenecks, and plan B options that protect your week. So you won't get disappointed with anything and you can get the most out of it in these 7 days. And if you're deciding Banff to prioritize Banff or Jasper, so you want to see like Banff versus Jasper idea criteria, then check out my next video where I made a video what is better, Banff or Jasper, where I elaborated a bit on it. And if you want to plan faster, easier, with less hassle, less stress, then check out my AI travel planner video that shows you how you can plan, what are the best tools for travel planning that will save you a lot of time. Then check that one next as well.